Everyone, welcome to Block Devs Tech Talks featuring RSK, and we're really happy to be back at it with such a reputable project such as RSK with Brendan Graetz, who's the head of developer relations. RSK is really trying to expand out into this region. They have a Tagalog translation for their website. At the end, we're going to have an AMA. So just, people raise your hands in the chat. We'll pick on you, and you guys can ask a question that Brendan will answer. Also, Zine from Block Devs Asia is going to be putting all of our social medias in the chat. So please, everyone, take a look at our social media. If you guys want us to talk about anything or bring in any specific concepts to our tech talks, please touch base with us, talk with us, and we're going to try to get that in for you. And I think I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Michael Reyes. I am the community manager for Block Devs Asia. And today we have special guest Brendan Graetz, who from RSK. So without further ado, I'm going to hand this on to Brendan and turn off my video. Take it away, Brendan.
Cool. Okay, thanks for the intro, Mike. So welcome to today's topic. Again, apologies, I was having difficulties sharing a particular screen, which I'm normally able to do. It seems to crash Zoom. So just bear with this frame, the border at the side of the screen and all that. Okay, cool. So, we'll spend about 10 minutes on what is RSK, about 15 minutes doing a demo of an animated on-chain SVG NFT. And then we'll have some time for questions and prize winners. And then we'll have some, these are questions that have been submitted ahead of time. And then we'll have an AMA right at the end. So before we get started, for the demo, you will get a chance to mint your own NFT on the RSK testnet. So if you want to do that, you will need a Web3 browser wallet, such as MetaMask. And then what you can do is go to identity.reforce.org, and then you get a dialog like this, and you can just click on RSK testnet. That will automatically configure it for you, which is great. And then subsequently, you can go to faucet.testnet.rsk.co, and you'll get some testnet tokens. And the testnet tokens will allow you to pay for the gas to mint your own NFT. So you can scan the QR codes or type in the link into the browser, and then you're good to go. So yeah, that's just preparation for the demo for those who want to take part in that. All right, let's get started. So what is RSK? RSK is its own blockchain, right? However, it is not a layer 1 blockchain. It's what we call a layer 2 blockchain, with Bitcoin being the layer 1. So the Bitcoin miners, right, who are merge mining with RSK, what they effectively do is they include something called an RSK tag inside a data field inside one of the transactions on the Bitcoin block. And by doing so, they represent the state of the RSK network within the Bitcoin network. And by doing so, they represent a certain percentage of the Bitcoin hash rate. It fluctuates somewhere between 40% and 60% is where we usually see it nowadays. And you can see the live rate on stats.rsk.co. So roughly half of all Bitcoin mining hash power is dedicated to mining, merge mining RSK. And for this reason, we call ourselves the most secure smart contract platform. The reason for that is, well, basically it's second only to Bitcoin itself, and RSK supports smart contracts. All right. The other thing that we have that connects it to Bitcoin is one RBTC, or smart Bitcoin, is always equal to one Bitcoin. And the thing that makes this is something called the proof of work peg, or Powpeg for short. And it allows Bitcoins to be pegged into the RSK network and pegged out of the RSK network as well. And this is actually built into the consensus, part of the consensus protocol of RSK called the bridge. And you will actually see the bridge in action during the demo later on. Okay, moving on. So this is moving on from the Bitcoin side of things. We'll go to the Ethereum side of things. So in order to be a smart contract platform, you need to have some sort of virtual machine that's capable of executing code and for storing data, right? So the Ethereum virtual machine in Ethereum, right, is compatible with the RSK virtual machine in RSK. And they're compatible at the opcode level. This has a lot of implications, meaning that your smart contracts that work in RSK, they also the same bytecode effectively will work on Ethereum and vice versa, right? There are some differences, but the main one is that the way that gas prices are calculated is different, and also the price per opcode is different as well. If you want to, if you don't care so much about the nitty-gritty of how the gas prices are calculated, and you just care about like what's the big picture, if you convert your gas fee into dollar terms, you're looking at roughly 2% to 2.5% of what you see in Ethereum. So if you're paying, I don't know, a few dollars to a few tens of dollars per transaction on Ethereum, you can expect to pay, well, basically a few tens of cents in RSK. So that's pretty cheap. It's attractive for both end users as well as the app developers. The other thing that is compatible with Ethereum is that we use the same RPC as Ethereum does. So you can we've actually done some fun experiments where we've got like versions of Geth as a client to communicate with the RSK network, and it actually works. So that's how good the compatibility is. So almost all the RPCs are the same. There are some tiny differences, but they're largely considered compatible. So your DApps will that's built on Ethereum, they work. If you're using curl commands or WebSockets to communicate, they're largely the same as well. Yeah. Okay, so then let's talk about the main RSK node implementation. It's called RSKj. It's written in Java, and any modifications to it, especially stuff that is major, including consensus protocol changes, they're governed using something called RSK IPs, which if you're coming from the Ethereum space, you might be familiar with Ethereum improvement proposals, or from the Bitcoin space, Bitcoin improvement proposals. So these are pretty much the same thing. You go through this process of defining, what are your proposed changes, and then it goes through rounds of discussions and approvals, and finally ends up in a consensus vote by the miners, and then your new features get implemented. Apart from the blockchain itself, there's also something called the RSK Infrastructure Framework, or RIF for short, RIF. That comprises a suite of apps and services. So you've got everything from DNS, so something similar to ENS, to a self-sovereign identity solution, to a fast payments network. You've got Relay, which implements enveloping, etc., etc. So all of these come under RSK Infrastructure Framework. So they're services which I would call them decentralized tech that's using the RSK blockchain, but not explicitly on-chain, or not necessarily on-chain. There's also a RIF token, which is a utility token, and it's used to denominate payment for the services for these various apps and services in the RSK Infrastructure Framework. Okay, so if you're a DApp developer, right, what's of interest to you, right, when you think about RSK? So if you're familiar with the Solidity and Web3 way of working, right, in terms of tools, libraries, frameworks, etc., right, all those familiar pieces of software, workflows, skills, and knowledge, they all transfer across to developing an RSK. It's, if you're an Ethereum DApp developer and your experience, I've typically seen them take, up to a day to get productive on RSK. It isn't that much of a difference. Few config differences, some other minor details, and you're good to go. Another interesting thing for Dappp developers, and this is like an explicit question I've been asked many times, is does RSK support ERC20 or ERC721 or whatever token standard? Yes, it does, right? So because the same Solidity smart contracts are able to compile and the bytecode is the same, etc., the same token standards that work on Ethereum, they also work on RSK. So you could literally take the same code and deploy it on both networks. And we've actually seen several companies do that before as well. If you're a user, so you're not a Dappp developer and you're just interacting with the blockchain, there are some things that you might be interested in. So there is a token bridge, right, which allows you to cross any ERC20 token from Ethereum to RSK or from RSK back to Ethereum. So you can go to tokenbridge.rsk.co and give that a whir. So you see things like USDT and what's the other one, DAI, like these really popular stable coins. They have actually been crossed over from Ethereum into RSK and vice versa. And then we also have some stable coins like DOC, dollar on chain, RIF dollar on chain, XUSD that are RSK native, and they've been crossed over onto Ethereum. And it's not just limited to stable coins. Anything that's an ERC20 compatible token can cross over using token bridge as well. And then moving on into more DeFi things, you can build DEXs. There are a couple of DEXs already operating and with significant volume. There's RSK Swap. There's also Sovereign, which operates a decentralized exchange. And then there's also DeFi lending. So there's what is there? DeFi lending. There's Sovereign, which also does DeFi lending. There's Tropicus, which is just launched, and a few others. So all the same kinds of DeFi things that exist on Ethereum, you can also find them on RSK. There's just not that many of them at the moment. So come to RSK and build them. Yeah. And in terms of NFTs, we've got Waterfan, which is an NFT platform that allows you to have collectible that's organized around collectible items. And then there's also Nifty Marketplace, which is launching soon. So yeah, these are coming soon. So yeah, that's what's in store for you as a user. Also, what's not on the slide, and I realize I should have put it on there, is that if you've already got a wallet that works with Ethereum, there's a highly good chance that it will also work with RSK. So many of the most popular Ethereum wallets, they also work with RSK. MetaMask is probably like the most commonly used Ethereum wallet as far as interacting with DApps, and that works on RSK just fine. We've got several others. We've got a whole list of them. So yeah, you can go check it out. If you go to this link at the bottom, developers.rsk.co, without the /slack at the end, you'll be able to go find a list of all the wallets there. We're hiring. So if you want to work with us, go to this URL here or scan this QR code. We have, I think, over 20 open positions at the moment. So go check them out.